Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and I have a great message for you today about the power of resilience. Okay, so this has been like an interesting week for me, and I can go into details about that later. It probably won't be in this video, but this has been a reminder of my capacity in particular and of the human capacity to be resilient. And if anything, think about the fact that what happened when the world shut down, and the chaos that ensued and continues to ensue, almost 4 years at this point as we go into 2024, and talk about the need for resilience and strength in our character, in so many things. This has just been a really insightful week for me in so many ways. And like I said, this is probably not the video that I will share any of that, but that will be coming because this has been a huge, impactful, intense, kind of a crazy week. So that being said, I wrote down a few things in my journal about the idea of being resilient, and some of the ideas that kept coming up to me was emotional and mental stability, flexibility, maturity, things like that. I think that we have not developed these character traits very much, not just in ourselves, but in our generations that are after us, our kids, some people for their grandkids. I think that we've just got this modern world of getting our feelings hurt so easy, or just not being taught these things because, sometimes I think what happens is we want the world or the lives of our kids to be better. And of course, we always want the world to be better, but we want the lives of our children to be better than the life we had, no matter what that looks like. I grew up in a great big family. We learned some mad character skills, and we learned about, hard work if we wanted to buy school lunch. One of the things that my dad and my mom, is, like many of you know, there's a huge group of kids in my family, and my dad and mom were always very cognizant of the fact that we bring these kids into the world, we will support them with shelter, with food, with clothing, all of the things that it takes to be a human being. And they were very against handing over the things that they could provide, and they would work hard to provide for us since they were able. And we never got free lunch. And this was such a powerful example. My mom and dad never went on and on about it. It was simply, you can take a brown bag lunch. You can, when I started babysitting as a teenager, I would spend my babysitting money on hot lunch when I was in high school mostly, because I was embarrassed to take my brown bag lunch or whatever, I don't even think I ever had a real lunch box. And of course now you realize those are just things that seem important as a teenager. You don't want to look weird or whatever in front of your friends, and you start to realize that of course never ever mattered, and if it mattered to some people, they weren't your friends anyway. But that's a different thing. But it's one of those things that I believe helped build my character. Is I watched my dad not take a government handout just because we qualified for it. And I'm not saying that some people don't need help. This is not what I'm saying. And I know you know what I'm talking about here. So one of the things I wrote on this little list is we need emotional regulation. And here's what I wrote. We need to learn how to manage our emotions by recognizing and processing them in healthy ways. This enables us to respond to adversity with a composed and thoughtful approach. I think one of the things that I really love lately is the thought that we are not our thoughts. That when we have something that comes at us, or conversation that triggers us, something we watch, if you find yourself getting in a state of being worked up about something emotionally and just with your thoughts, and if you're like me, and I know many humans are like this, sometimes I just can't shut my brain off. I think of every scenario. I replay a situation over and over and over again. trying to think of what could the outcome be different, or what could have I done different, or what could I do? Like, we just think ourselves to death, right? And I think the thing that's interesting is when I've actually been practicing this very intensely, especially this past year, because I let a lot of things trigger me, 2020, 2021, and even 2022. 2023 has been the year where I used to think I was very emotionally flexible and emotionally strong and things don't trigger me. I learned during those first 3 years of COVID that that was not true for me. But during 2023, I heard something, and I think it might have been from Joe Dispenza, I believe. But basically what it was is, you are not your thoughts. So, and even your emotions, like your emotions are real, and our emotions can create things. But if I look at something that makes me angry and I just can't get over it, even if it's right in the moment, I will literally, in the moment now, because I've been practicing, I will in the moment say, is that thought me? Is that me? And it's amazing how fast those thoughts that are negative, or maybe it might be something that keeps going in my brain and I can't go to sleep. But I think that's not me. That's not who I am. My thoughts don't define me. And I think because we have so much input from our phones and our computers and our TVs, we get so much input that we're constantly just overrun by our thoughts. And we think that things that are not real are real. So here's the thing. We need to take a minute and center ourselves. Take a breath. In the moment, take a breath. Observe your thoughts and your emotions without judgment. Just kind of observe them. Be a standby person looking at your thoughts. It's a really interesting exercise. One thing I like to do is I like to zoom out. I like to take a minute and zoom above my body and look at the situation from like a bird's eye view. And sometimes if I need to, if I'm having some very intense thoughts, I'll zoom myself out above my house, above my neighborhood, above my city, my state, my country, till I'm out in the atmosphere, in the universe, which is really where I know is this consciousness that is me. This body is just a vehicle to take me through this life. But the part of me that is the true me is this higher creative being that is a part of God, that's a part of the Creator. I'm a piece of that, and so are you. We're all a piece of that. And when we can take a minute and look at our thoughts and emotions without judgment, it's an incredibly powerful, creative way to walk through this world. And to me, what it does is it gives us clarity, especially in the face of so much uncertainty and so much chaos, right? So along this line, here's something I wrote. I wrote this in big bold letters: self-compassion. Give yourself a break. No one's perfect. In fact, if anything, all of us are imperfect. And that's what makes it so beautiful. That's what makes it so amazing, that we get to make mistakes. And are there consequences to the mistakes sometimes? Sometimes some of us have to learn the hard way. Sometimes some of us might have a little bit of foresight and go, oh, I'm going to dodge that bullet. Maybe like, for example, don't get in a car if you've had 2 or 3 glasses of wine. Take an Uber. That's just, we can get ourselves out of things prior to when they happen, but sometimes we do need to learn the hard way. And that is the painful part of it. But we need to give ourselves some self-compassion. And so what I wrote down here is treat yourself with kindness and understanding, and remember that we're all imperfect. Okay, self-compassion will allow us to navigate all of these challenges that we go through without self-criticism. We don't need that. That doesn't serve us. And then here's the next thing I wrote: is we need to develop resilient thinking. It's easy to get caught in those traps and those rabbit holes of things that just keep us stuck. So here we need to think about this. We need to view things that might be considered setbacks as opportunities for us to have growth and learning. This is all an opportunity. This is all a grand adventure. This is all a journey. You know, I was talking with a friend of mine yesterday, a beautiful conversation with a friend that I met when I first moved to Salt Lake City. She has since moved out of state when she retired, but we stay in close touch. And I had a beautiful conversation with her yesterday. In fact, Michelle, if you're watching this, hello, I love you. I love you. But we had this conversation yesterday that we were so reminded of the fact that when we first met each other, we met each other at the gym in a step class, in like literally an exercise class. And this wasn't her normal gym. She was there with her sister. In fact, it was her sister's gym. And we talked about this yesterday, but it's been 26 or 27 years since we met. But from that first day that we met, there was an instant connection. It was like, oh my goodness. Like we knew each other before we came down here. And we talked about a really beautiful, I believe it's true, but maybe the idea of, but there's a woman who did past life regressions for 50 years. Her name is Delores. I've talked about her before. She wrote many, many books. I think she wrote 17 books or so. And you can find her all over YouTube. You can find her books all still online. I believe you can even get them on Amazon. And I've read a few of them. But a few years ago, I discovered Delores. And one of the books that she wrote after putting many, many, many people through past life regression sessions, and I'm talking about at that point thousands, because I believe that the book she wrote toward the end of her life was called The 3 Waves of Volunteers. And this might be something that you've heard of. And the first wave of volunteers came in right after World War II to come and bring the consciousness level of the planet up because it was so low. So there's a bunch of people who volunteered and said, I'll go in, I'll go in, I'll go in. And a huge group of human beings, the baby boomers, came in and made that decision to help raise the frequency of the planet. And then the second wave are people who came in just to simply vibrate in the energy of love because their soul, their consciousness was just love. They don't need to do anything. They simply all they have to do is be. And I have a nephew, I believe, is one of those second wavers. And then the third wave are all of the children that are here to change the world. It's actually a really beautiful read if you're interested in reading this book. But me and my friend Michelle were talking yesterday about how we recognized a long time ago, we're both first wave volunteers, we're both baby boomers, and we have this connection that is absolutely uncanny. In fact, this thing that happened to me this week that was extremely intense, and it's not going to clear up quickly, but this was very intense. And she reached out to me with a text yesterday and just said, I had this dream. I don't really know what it means, but we were together, and I'm supposed to give you a message because this is what came in. And I was absolutely floored. I was floored. But then I realized really quickly, okay, I'm not really floored, but I'm just like, it was such a reminder of a purpose and the passion we each have for what we get to do on this planet. And there are things that are going to come at us that are hard. And the more you meet them head on with resilience, emotional stability, you give yourself self-compassion and love, and you realize, once you start realizing the purpose that you have here, and that, I say this so much, but I think it's so true, that you chose to be here. We all chose this time to come and be here. And when you put all these puzzle pieces together, and you let these things that come at you that seem like so hard, how am I going to get through this? You let them be learning, you let them be growth, you be humble, you be honest, you let things unfold the way they're supposed to. And for me, it's a realization that this is zoom out moments, zoom out above the planet and go, okay, in the whole scheme of everything that is, and the knowing that I have, that I am like you are, a conscious, creative spark of divine light and love. I'm a piece of God. I'm a piece of the Creator. You realize that, and everything goes, it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And I think if we can walk through these really chaotic, uncertain times right now and have this remembering of who we are and why we're here, that everything will change as we walk through and keep our own personal, this is what we're responsible for, our own individual level of consciousness as we walk through the world. I mean, it's so beautiful. I almost think that's a great place to end it, but I do want to share a couple things that I wrote down. In fact, one of the things that came in for me while I was writing my journal about this, it's kind of funny because I find myself getting caught up in all this enthusiasm and all the amazing things, and then something will come and kind of like wham, and it's like, oh, a reminder, okay, I'm in this physical body, there's things that I'm doing that I need to change or whatever. And so then this is what I wrote, because I'd written this about being resilient at the first of the week. And then as the week went by, my week changed dramatically. And I wrote this: set realistic goals. Like, for your resilience and your mental stability, your mental flexibility and all of that, set some realistic goals, Jane. And then here's what I wrote. Make sure that you establish goals that align with your vision of health and freedom, and empowerment. They can serve as a source of motivation and direction. So I kind of had this little like glitch in the matrix. For me, it was like, okay, let's be realistic here. And it's not like I'm saying don't be realistic, but it was kind of this moment that I had that was like, okay. And then very quickly, I recovered my equilibrium. I got settled, and I jumped right back in to where I am now. So then I finished off my journaling on this topic, which the next one is to be adaptable. This is what I was kind of talking about when I was talking about the way I grew up. When you can learn to be adaptable and to let things go quicker, like this will help you be so resilient and give you so much emotional strength. We put this thing where we have to be right, There's one of the 4 agreements, which is so beautiful. Don Miguel Ruiz wrote the 4 agreements. And one of them is don't take anything personally. Always do your best is another one. And to me, it's like, this is where all of that comes in, right? Okay, self-care. This was actually just at the end of yesterday. The end of Saturday was like, I actually got a long needed massage yesterday. It was an hour and a half. I actually booked it with this person probably 5 or 6 weeks ago. This was a person who was really hard to get into. I don't treat myself enough to things like massages, and I love them. It's just me making time to do it. I'm constantly, I'm always, I dedicate, and I'm so happy with the purpose I have, but I dedicate everything to Barlow Herbal and keeping this company vibrant and alive and full of love and all of that. And I realized I needed to step back and do some self-care. In fact, what's interesting is while I was having my massage yesterday, it was I booked an hour and a half. It was just sheer heaven. And about halfway in, a beautiful friend of mine, it was just this, the massage was so amazing. And I could just feel everything relax, and it was a beautiful massage. And a friend of mine who passed away way too early, she passed away at the end of June of this year, actually came in. Her presence just filled me, and there was a huge bubble of light around my whole heart, and it was an amazing moment. Anyway, that was so beautiful. And then the last thing I wrote here, and this is where I'm going to end, spread positivity and inspiration. Keep spreading positivity. This is just my wheelhouse. I know I've had people here and there tell me, you're too positive. Like, everything's not always as positive. It's okay for you not to be positive. And I get this honestly from my mom. My mom, till her dying breath, was the most positive person in the world. And if I can embody my mother, I will do that. I will take that all day long. So here's what I wrote about this. Take it upon yourself to spread positivity and inspiration to those around you. Everybody can do that. Everyone can do that. Smile at someone in the grocery store. If you're at the grocery store checking out and the checker is a little cranky and doesn't look you in the eye, or hand you your receipt a little grumpy or whatever, take some energetic love and just flow it at her. You don't have to say anything. You could just open your heart and flow love. You can do this in any situation at any time. And we all have the ability to do that. And it's such a beautiful, fun thing to do. Do an experiment. Walk into a store, whatever store it is, and literally head up, chest out, not unnaturally, not weirdly, so people are wondering what the heck you're doing, but just pay attention instead of just being on this mission to go get your stuff. Pay attention to the people around you and throw little love bombs at them, like throw some love and light their way. You can literally feel the energy of where you are change. You can feel it. And it's so powerful and so beautiful. So keep spreading that. And here's what I wrote. Sometimes all it takes is a kind word, a helping hand, just help somebody. It can have such a profound effect on people and yourself. So, I'll just end this with this. As we go into the new year, we have a couple weeks where I'm recording this at the middle of December. Don't forget your purpose. Don't forget that you are strong and so resilient. What a beautiful freaking time to be alive. And I'll tell you something, if you got to the end of this, 22 minutes, if I can say that and all of this after the week I've had, then I will tell you, whatever it is you're surviving or whatever it is that is hard for you in your life right now, no matter how you see other people responding to things that you think, oh my gosh, why don't you see this? Or, whatever it is that you're seeing that you feel maybe a little hopeless and helpless about, just have such a knowing that you are this resilient, strong, amazing human. And here's the thing. We are going to come out of this so strong, so connected, so compassionate, so powerful that nothing can stop the beauty that the American and humanity, and I meant to actually say that the humanity is going to have. And maybe America did come out on purpose there. Seems like we've kind of lost our way a little bit, with what we hold dear and all the blessings that we've taken for granted for being an American, maybe that came out on purpose. But anyway, I hope there's something in here that maybe resonated with you, sparked something to help you zoom out, look at the bigger picture, know that you are a strong, beautiful human being with a brilliant consciousness and a connection to our Creator. So that's a perfect place to end it. So I love you guys. I'm beyond grateful to be here and have this platform. It's not a super huge one, but if any of you watching this, if this gives you some ginormous ray of hope or even a small flashlight of hope, just know that we're all in this together. Reach out and start finding your tribe. Go find them. They will circle the wagons for you when you need them. I have been experiencing this on a level I never dreamed this week. So I hope you have a brilliant week ahead. Don't let the holidays be too crazy for you. Spread some love and sunshine and throw those beautiful love bombs around to everyone you come across. So guys, have a beautiful week and we will talk to you soon.